don't necessarily think you need leadership to be in a rock band. A drummer isn't always getting a drum solo. So you learn patience. You learn that you're in the back holding everything together, reframing change to be an opportunity, being grateful for this opportunity, and then solving that problem.
That's the markets, is our perception. Is it a threat or an opportunity?
Yes.
Is the glass half full or half empty? They're both right.
People want to work for people that are grateful, that are thankful, and that are kind. From that point forward is where our sales just accelerated.
Okay, Ronna, Gucci here. Man, it is such an honor to be with you again. When was the last time we were together?
Gosh, it was January this year, beginning of this year. And
that's right.
I feel like so much has changed in a short amount of time.
Really? Well, first off, tell me what impacted you. What do you remember from, and that was the national meeting, right?
Our national sales meeting.
Yep, and that was in January. First off, it's 5 months ago. So what still resonates with you in your heart?
Well, the theme for that meeting was next level performance, which you came in and really set the table for, I think, the entire team. And so some of my key takeaways were the reinforcement of this gratitude in leadership. It really solidified things I was doing, but also more things I could be doing. But then the second takeaway was the importance of the team and the team executing at a high level. And if they don't, debriefing about it and learning about it and making sure the next time it's better.
Now, are you using the debrief? Is that a new concept? Did you use it or did you change it since we talked?
Yeah, so we always did that as a best practice, but we didn't necessarily call it a debrief, right? It was always like a post-mortem, which is an awful phrase for that. So changing it to a debrief and actually being very intentional about it, particularly in any large events, large meetings, things like that, where we want to continue to get better.
Well, tell me about the team you lead. You have a huge role here at Nationwide.
Yes. So at Nationwide, my title is Senior Vice President of Annuity Distribution. And what that means is I have a team of about 240 people across the country that are responsible for going out and educating and training financial professionals on how to use annuities inside financial plans for customers. So we're focused on protecting retirements for today's pre-retirees and retirees. And that has a large goal tied to it, meaning we are expected to bring in top line sales revenue of about $18 billion this year. Wow. And we've had 4 consecutive years of just record breaking top line revenue. And so the expectation is that this continues.
Well, that's one of the biggest challenges, right? It's not how do you reach level excellence, but how do you sustain excellence, whether it's in revenue, whether it's in trust, these elements. So how did you get to where you are? What were some of the keys? And here's with the change happening, what are you going to do? So
I think when you look back at how I got to where I am, I can point to every important part of my career to having an ally or a sponsor next to me. Okay. And I think that's really important because you have somebody in your corner coaching you along the way, guiding you along the way, and then advocating for you in the room when you're not there.
Well, I don't know if I said this when we were together at the national sales meeting, but in the Blue Angels, when you're selected for the team, you actually get a mentor. And it's someone who's flying with you. Yeah. So if I became a opposing solo, that was the route I took. Number 6. Number 5 is my lead solo. So we are like super close teaching, and it's his or her job to first keep me safe, learn the maneuvers, but then quickly share all that knowledge so that, because guess what, next year they move on to a different role and I move into the lead solo job. So it's a 1-year mentorship. And then it's a 1-year leadership, and then it's like, hey, you move on and take on another responsibility. So how did that fit in with you?
So that's exactly what Nationwide does, actually.
Really?
They bring you in, and they focus on your development, expecting you within 3 years' time you'll be in a different role.
Nice.
Like they like to continue to see you either move up or even take lateral moves to learn the business full sale.
Nice.
So that's what happened when I came to Nationwide, which was 2020. Our current president of the annuity business, Craig Hawley, hired me, brought me in.
Why did he hire you? What was it in you that he saw?
I can tell you what my mandate was and why I fit the bill. The mandate was to come in and create a team that did what the enterprise needed them to do versus the lone wolf mentality, right? To come in and create a team mentality. To then also modernize our distribution team, leveraging technology and data, and then to elevate the performance of the team as well to grow over the next 5 years. So those were the 3 mandates I was hired for.
Nice.
And so he, through our interview process, thought I had the right things to do that. And it's working so well so far.
Well, what did you tackle first? Did you tackle them in that order? And if so, how? So team first.
Yeah, so 2020, I was hired in January of 2020.
Yep.
Well, what happened in March? COVID. So between January and March, I had a very small window to meet the team. And so I got to meet them maybe once or twice in 3 months' time. And then everybody went home and I couldn't travel to go see them. So I had to kind of...
Were you on site as a team first, or was it remote already?
So
virtual?
a lot of my team, I'd probably say 60% of my team is remote.
Okay.
40% are in hubs, Columbus, Louisville, and Phoenix.
Okay.
So I could get to the hubs before travel bans, but once the travel ban, I could only get to Scottsdale, right to Phoenix.
Okay.
So I couldn't see anybody but virtually.
Yeah.
And so I had to change to creating trust.
Yes.
Virtually first before I can make any changes.
I remember that time.
Yeah.
I think everyone who's listened to us does too, right? At first, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of unknowns. And, this thing called Zoom or Teams, either one, the virtual way was unknown. So if you think back to that, how did you use those platforms and create trust?
I knew the goal was to get them to trust me. And so I needed to pour into them as a human being first and not as an employee. And that means taking care of them during this time when everybody's getting sick, making sure their families are taken care of when everybody's getting sick, making sure they're staying safe. And then also teaching them how to do the same thing for their financial professionals they work with. Right? Treat them as humans and empathy first. So I had to do a lot of laying the groundwork to create a trust foundation.
Yeah.
And one of the ways I did that is I focused on daily gratitude.
You did?
I did. I reached out.
Tell me, what did you do?
I reached out via text every day to our top salespeople on the daily basis saying, hey, great job yesterday, great job today. So I would send about 10 to 15 texts at the beginning of every day. And then I would call, on Tuesdays, I would do call blocks, and I would call a list of 10 to 12 salespeople as well, and I just check in on them. How you doing? And I just moved through the list until I got through everybody.
How long were those calls?
Those calls were probably maybe 15, 20 minutes.
And what did you focus on?
I focused on them.
Yeah.
Them as a person. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family doing? Are you guys okay? Do you need anything? Especially if any of them got sick. Like, we would pass that news around to the leadership team. Like, hey, so-and-so did get COVID. Let's check on them. Right? And that was the most important thing. And then we worked on, okay, how do we make sure you're being compensated during this time fairly as well? And so they could have the peace of mind that I care about them from a health-wise, but also from a standard of living as well.
Did I talk about, I can't even remember, if you remember this, the connect, align, commit.
Yes.
3 things. Yeah, okay. So that's what you're demonstrating. Number 1, connecting as a human being first, right? And then aligning, in this case, compensation, but priorities, roles.
Yeah.
How did you address the commitment piece?
Yeah, so the commitment was I was asking them to buy in to doing as much as they could to the strategy for that plan that we had for that year anyway. We knew the disruption in the marketplace was so big, we weren't going to hit our top line revenue goal that year. But I said, commit to doing everything you can to try to get there, right? Control what you can control and commit to that.
What did that mean to them?
To them, what they can control is they can control their sales activities. Okay. They can control the case potentials that we call live cases that they can generate. Okay. They can control their mindset, and they can control their message.
Let's talk mindset real quick. How did you coach them on that?
They had never had that coaching before on the mindset. And so we just used weekly conference calls, video calls, to really talk about how do you stay positive, how do you look for the upside, all of those types of things. It was just a constant kind of drip on them until it started becoming more natural.
Okay, so that was back then. How did that transfer and where are you now?
Yeah. So that was 2020, built the trust. 2021, we instituted the new distribution model in June of 2021. Leveraged technology and data to put it all together, recreated territories, the whole thing. And then from that point forward is where our sales just accelerated. So we had trust, and now we had the right distribution model. And now
it's execution.
It's execution, exactly.
How did you used the debrief through this process. And did you?
We did.
And what have you learned since then about the Glad to Be Here debrief, which is slightly different, right?
It is slightly different, but we did, I remember specifically in 2021 when we installed the new distribution model, at the end of that year, so we installed it in July, in December of that year, we did a debrief specifically about, did we retain the right talent? Did we have any blind spots? Did we miss things? And we identified that we did miss, that there were certain characteristics of salespeople that we didn't keep that would have benefited us if we would have kept them.
Like what?
For instance, one of the channels is called the Wirehouse channel. They're very much straight to the point, like very hard-nosed. They're very smart and intelligent.
These are the Merrill Lynch's, the Morgan Stanleys.
The UBSs of the world.
Yeah, UBS, yeah.
And very high caliber.
Yes.
And we had wholesalers that were very good at going in there, but it was a small segment of our business.
Okay.
And so we didn't keep as many of those people.
Oh.
And so the other people we kept who had really tremendous talents elsewhere were intimidated to go into those firms.
Okay.
And so if we would have kept more of those folks that had that expertise, it would have been an easier transition, right? So that was a really important learning through the debrief process.
All right. Let's get back to resiliency real quick, because you're going through change. All right. What kind of change are you experiencing right now as a company, as a leader?
Yeah. So this is a new environment for us because since 2021, we've hit all of our goals.
Okay.
And so we are expected to grow every year now by 4 or 5%, and
we're talking billions.
We're talking billions.
So that 4 or 5% is a big number.
It is a big number.
Okay.
And what we're experiencing is that we make it seem easy. People look at us and like, oh, this is easy for you. And so now this year, the markets have changed. There's rapid volatility on a daily basis. Interest rates are bobbing up and down. It's just creating a lot of noise in the marketplace, and financial professionals are having to educate their customers more, getting them to, think about the long-term vision of where you want your funds to be, not right now. Don't overreact, which takes their time away from seeing my salespeople and them helping, right? And so our sales are just as volatile right now as the market is. That's new for us. And so we're focused very much on making sure our salespeople are educated and trained on how volatility works, the impact it has, how our products can fit the right client profile, and so that they can go back to the basics in this time. Unfortunately, that slows down the sales process if you're going back to the basics because you're spending a lot of time educating. Additionally, we're trying to make our products more competitive or enticing to customers too during this time so that they'll look at our products more as well. So we are behind in sales. I'm sorry to say, year to date so far, but we have a tremendous plan. We've had to pivot and put together a new plan into the market to adjust to these things that we think will get us to plan by the end of the year.
Okay, so that makes me think about glad to be here.
Yes.
It's easy to say glad to be here when things are going well.
Right.
What does glad to be here mean to you now?
Yeah, I think it means that I am glad to be here to work through this with you, that you are on my team, that we have a solid team, we have a solid foundation, and we together know we have the confidence to get through this. We have the right talent, we have the right diversity of thought, we have the right platforms, we have the right technology, we have everything that's right to solve this problem, and I wouldn't want to be doing this with anybody else.
I think back to on the Blues, that's what glad to be here initially meant to me, was number one, that I was just part of that organization, just to be there. You work so hard, you have a great company, Blues, sought after, and it got deeper though. So initially it's like, wow, I'm part of something special. And then I got scared because I realized this is a whole new culture. Yeah. This is a whole new expectation, kind of what you're saying. Got to raise my game, but we got to raise the team as together. And then it became, wow, I got to do my job. These are by the way, this is a new, the 3 levels of mastery, okay? Number 1 is do your job. Belichick and I were talking about this just recently, right? Second is what you're on, and that's the be world class. That continuous improvement. Absolutely every little thing we can do. But you're also on the 3rd level is teach someone else.
Yes.
So it's one thing to hire someone, train, get back to basics, get to that execution piece of world class. But where are you on the teaching, the coaching, teaching someone else to take over?
Yeah. We do have instilled development plans. They're actually structured development plans at Nationwide. We focus a lot on the self-development. So we also believe the associate owns their own development.
Nice.
So we coach to it. You also come to the table with what you want to accomplish, and then together we meet in the middle and figure it out. So I do have a development plan on my team for who I think my successor would be and how do I coach them up, whether that be hiring an executive coach for them, whether that's giving them specific training or, giving them a stretch project, things like that.
Ronna, it's not just about work, right?
Right.
What do you like to do outside of work? What's important to you?
Well, I'm thankful my parents really instilled in me young the importance of giving back.
Okay.
And so I've carried that forward today. Today, thanks to Nationwide's help and support, I am a member of the St. Mary's Food Bank on the board of directors.
Are you?
And St. Mary's Food Bank is the largest food bank in Arizona. It's actually the very first food bank ever created in the nation. Wow. And so I'm really proud and to be a part of their mission. And their mission is to ease people's needs, right? And the need right now, because inflation is high and things cost so much and there's volatility and all of that, is just making sure people have food security.
How'd you get involved?
So that's the beauty of Nationwide, is they invest in the communities where their people reside. Okay. And so they have all of their officers across the nation involved in local charities in their communities. And they help us generate the donations required, but they also help us get on the board so that we can have a voice and participate actively in those charities. And that's how this opportunity came. The former Nationwide person retired, and so they had an opening, and so they knew I had a passion for food security particularly. I have examples of my families that have gone through St. Mary's and utilized their services in the past. So when this came, I was like, this is it.
How does it make you feel?
It's heartwarming, it's touching, it makes you feel privileged for what you have.
Yeah.
But it also makes you want to make sure that organization continues because of what they're doing and who they're serving.
Yeah. Kind of that purpose higher than self. I think back to, it always has to be larger than you.
Yeah.
Right. And I think about the connected line, commit, but also learn, grow, give. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. How can we learn? How do we grow? But the start is the giving. Yes. My wife and I have that Glad to Be Here Foundation, and I think we made a donation in the past, and we continue to do that. And I'm finding that every company we get a chance to work with, we always ask them, hey, is there something important to you? And did you all pick that charity? Can you remember?
Yeah, we picked that charity. What happened, I guess it was a handful of years ago, maybe 5, 7, 10 years ago, they came out and did a tour, the Nationwide leadership, and they said, we need to be a part of this organization. And they kind of just fully went in.
Whoa. Yeah. I just got back from St. Louis, and there's a family friend. He works for the St. Vincent de Paul. Yeah. But they do a food bank in East St. Louis. That's a rough area. Yeah. I mean, it's really rough. And Joe's his name. He's such a great guy. He's a living angel. Aww. When you go to these places, it does change my heart because you get to see, to me, it's not even the money. It's the people who donate their time and their treasures, and they're really making a difference in people's lives. And let's just keep doing it.
It's powerful. We have taken it another step further to where anytime we do a meeting, national sales meeting, summer sales meeting, we do something for that community too. Nice. We just came back from a trip where we donated kids' books to the local charity there. Nice. We did an event where we built bikes for a local charity. So yeah, we make sure we do all of those things. When you built the
bikes or the books, did you actually see the kids get those?
Unfortunately, we didn't. But what we got to see was the next day the photos from them delivering them. So we did get to see that.
Yes. Yeah, I think.
To be clear, my team won the bike building contest. Just so you know.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Oh, wonderful. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, we are. It fills my soul to help others.
That's glad to be here.
Yep, glad to be here.
How about the 5 dynamics? Do you remember we went through these on the debrief? You mentioned, which is the own the outcome.
Oh, remember that? Yes, I do.
That's it. Yep. They need to own the outcome. We as a team need to own the outcome. To me, that's accountability with personal responsibility when you own it. Yep. So remember we went into the debrief room and you got to see us going through it. So it wasn't just academic. You got to see it, right?
Yes.
And I came off stage and I said, hey, everybody, what did you observe in that room? What was the first statement that everybody used in their comments in the room? I'll give you a little hint.
Oh, yes, glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
Yeah. So that glad to be here, we actually used in our statements to close out. We did it before we started this podcast. We did our check-in.
Yes.
Do you all use the glad to be here? And if so, how?
We do, and we actually tie it into what we do to start our leadership meetings, which is we always start with recognition.
Nice.
And so what we did is morph this into, well, we already do recognition, which is part of the steps in your process. Yep. And so then we just changed into the glad to be here at the end, but we have a safety. The safety was the new part that everybody was struggling the most with.
Interesting. That is hard.
Yeah.
So talk to me, because everyone who's listening, that is the hardest part, is getting people, number one, to understand what is a safety, and you define that, and then they get to define that. And then even being safe enough to knowing how to admit it. So tell me your journey.
Yeah.
How did that go?
So it went well in that we described it as, what do you want extra grace for? What didn't go out the way, what didn't go the way you wanted it to? What are you anxious about? Like, what do you need extra grace for?
That's huge. Let's not lose that.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's extra grace.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I may have missed, I was late, let's say, or I didn't get my deliverables done.
Yep.
Fine, those are pretty obvious. But it's the little stuff that, what do I need a little extra grace on? I like that. We're going to use that.
Yeah,
good.
It went over well, because it turns out like somebody was there who was missing their spouse's birthday for the first time ever, because they traveled on their birthday. And that
happens to me every year, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So I got to learn, but keep going.
But that was important to them at the time, and they felt guilty about it, and so they needed a little extra grace there. So
I like it. That's a good. Actually, the one I miss the most is my birthday. I'm always on the road. It's October.
Yep.
And there's usually.
That's busy season.
Yep. So. But that's part of the purpose higher than self.
That's right.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about resiliency. You and I were chatting right beforehand about a hike you went on. Turns out it's in Sun Valley, where I live.
Yep.
Talk to me about that. What was going on?
So last year, 2024, was a milestone birthday. So I thought, why not do a milestone event?
Oh, nice.
And so I signed up for an event called 29029 Everesting, which is the idea you'll hike 29,000 feet of elevation, which is the height of Everest, without going to Everest. And so they give you a 5-month training plan, and then you go to Sun Valley Mountain and you hike this loop. It's a 1,500 feet ascent, vertical ascent.
I've done that many times, but keep going.
Over 1.5 miles, and you have to do 15 loops, and you will have accomplished this.
That is tough, I got to tell you. So I remember in the summer, and I didn't know this was going on. I happened to be just doing my normal thing, riding my bike, mountain biking. I go down to the base lodge. And I see this huge event. There's tents. It says 2929, which at first I did not know what it meant. And then, of course, there's the big sign Everest. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And there's you all and everybody up and down, this massive loop. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I do that hike, not a lot, but I'm tired. Just doing it once. You did it 15 times was the goal?
Well, 15 times was the goal. So when you talk about resilience, my resilience is I'm athlete, competitive, trained properly for this, thought I was prepared. I injured my foot, and so I couldn't complete
Before or during?
I injured right before. So I injured it in March. The event was in June. I thought I'd make it. And so I went to the doctor because it wasn't healing. And I said, hey, just give me some cortisone, get me through this event, because I've been training for so long for it, right? And so they gave me the cortisone, and I thought that was going to work. It didn't. And so halfway through, my foot, I just really couldn't put any pressure on it. Swelled up. And come to find out, 3 months after the event, when my foot still hadn't healed, I had broken my foot. I had broken a bone in my foot. So here I am trying to do this tremendous event that, to me is going to bring meaning to my milestone birthday. And I fail in my mind. I failed in my mind. Okay. And so I had to then, within 3 weeks later was our summer sales meeting. Okay. And I'm like, how do I tell this story at the summer sales meeting? Because everybody's expecting me to have succeeded.
Oh, good point.
And so I had to change my mindset and figure out how to process this, in that there was still success. I still learned. I was still on a journey to excellence. Nice. Even if I didn't execute it, if I couldn't finish it, what did I learn and what was my takeaway?
Which was what?
Which was I could do hard things.
Nice. Which
was very important. Which was also that making the effort and doing the preparation sometimes doesn't guarantee the success, right? Yeah. There are things outside of your control, but I controlled what I could. and that I could have confidence and solace in that.
Yeah. And you put in the effort. I mean,
the effort.
I could feel that. You know, I was thinking, I was, it's so funny. It's about the same time frame. It's winter though. And my backyard, you can skin up. It's a hill. In fact, Arnold Schwarzenegger's on the other side of the hill.
Wow.
So you got Arnold over there. So I skin up to the top of the hill and I'm skiing down into my backyard. And I do one run and it's nice powder. Great. I go do it again. Now the second time I decide I'm gonna ski a little faster. And I called my wife because I'm gonna try to look cool, right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to do that, right? So I'm coming down. I get down to the bottom and bam! I'm on skin skis, which are not as tight, right? If you ever done those randonnée kind of binies, yeah. And the binie pops out because I put too much torque on it, and boom! I mean a header. You ever do those headers where you flip a couple times? And I'm like, oh, my ankle just really hurt, but I was more embarrassed than hurt. Luckily, it's my house, so I walk out. The next day, I'm flying to Europe. Actually, was it? Yeah, it was Europe. I had London, a speech to give, and my ankle swells up. But I'm like, you know what? I'm on a jet, 10 hours, no big deal. Get some ice, keep it up, lay flat bed kind of thing. I get there, I do the event, and it turns out that I'm in Europe for like 3 weeks. I come back finally, and this is hurting like hell, right? Go to Mayo. I'm doing a stem cell on my knee, not my ankle, right? And I was just limping around and sucking it up, right? I was on the Suck It Up program. And the doc, he's looking at my knee and we're doing a trial, and he says, anything else? I said, well, doc, you might want to check my left ankle. I kind of fell 3 weeks ago. He does an ultrasound. It's still broken.
Oh my gosh.
It was broken back then. It was still, but it was too late. He goes, and he said, how did you manage this? And I said, just the Suck It Up program, which I hear you did with your foot, but I like the idea of what did we learn from it? I wouldn't have done that again.
I would. That helped me process it, because otherwise I was hanging on to the fact I didn't finish. And the fact that I could go back and, okay, what did I learn? What's the story that can come out of this? What's the goodness that could come out of this?
Okay. We were just found out you had a Rhodesian Ridgeback mix too. We got two rescue Rhodesian Ridgebacks. Did I show you, by the way, his name? I did earlier. I got to show you again.
So adorable.
So that's Nash.
So pretty.
There's Sun Valley in the backdrop. 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Okay, rescue dog. We also have a female who's now 80 pounds.
Wow.
But they are the most loving, kind dogs. What did you learn from your
Agreed.
Ridgeback?
So my dog, his name was Rico. We called him Uncle Rico in case any of you are Napoleon Dynamite fans. Uncle Rico was his name.
No, tell me.
Uncle Rico is a character in Napoleon Dynamite that's just like dopey, funny, like everybody loves him, but he's like also annoying.
Okay.
And that was kind of Rico's personality too. He was dopey, he was loving, he was kind, he was
Now we're not talking about an employee. We're still talking about your dog.
Still talking about my dog.
Okay,
loyal and cute as can be. He was actually a Ridgeback Shar-Pei mix.
Which is what? I don't know what that is.
So he looked just like that, but with the short Shar-Pei ears.
Oh.
So he was adorable.
Yeah. How big?
He was 60 pounds.
Okay.
But when we got him, they said he was 3 months old and he was only 25, 30 pounds and wouldn't grow much. And they were wrong. They got the breeds wrong, obviously. He grew 60 pounds, big guy. But unfortunately, he lived a young life. He got cancer and we had to put him down. But tremendously loyal, sweet boy.
Yeah, that's what I love. And I'm thinking about our dogs, kids, employees, people we get to work with. Those same traits are so important. Loyalty, caring for each other. That culture of excellence, but caring, and just being there for each other. Let's talk about center point real quick. To me, that's the concept of what are you focused on, right? So what is it? What is your center point in your leadership style?
I don't want this to sound overly easy, but I think of it as being a good human first. I think I have to be a good person. I have to assume goodness in others before I could lead, before I can get them to trust me. And I think I have to do that through gratitude, because people want to work for people that are grateful, that are thankful, and that are kind. And I think that's the real core of what I'm trying to do.
The stats show that's exactly it. 70% of the people who work for us right now will actually say that they will feel better about themselves if you show up grateful.
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
So how you show up matters. It really impacts people. And 95% say we'll be most successful. We as leaders will be more successful if we show up grateful. These are the people who work for us.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's so great. And I can tell you, like, I was doing that as a leader first, and I wasn't doing it with my family.
Oh.
And I had to basically, like, do it 360, right? And make sure I'm doing it at home or even with my parents or my brothers, right? My extended family. I had to do the same thing. I had to show up differently. And when I did, it changed the dynamics of everything.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
The glad to be here starts at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Talk to me about what are some of the things you're doing now with the mindset of glad to be here as a leader. What are some of the things you're doing and want to do in the future? How do you want to use it in the future?
So right now we're going through I mentioned the adversity in terms of the markets. We also are looking at what a future distribution model looks like if we want to continue to grow as well. So there'll be future change. Yep. And so one of the things in terms of using your mindset to reframe change is I asked my team to read a book called The Upside of Uncertainty, and it reframes uncertainty to be an opportunity.
Nice.
And so I think that carries to me forward. Same to glad to be here. There's an opportunity in this change.
Yes.
What does it look like? I'm glad to be part of this. What's my role? Where do we go with this? So I think that's one aspect of it, is reframing change to be an opportunity.
Oh, I love
being
that.
grateful for this opportunity and then solving that problem. But I think also it's going to be about instilling, more proactively the debriefs, the execution, the continuing on to excellence. I mean, all of those great traits. I would call us a third of the way through a journey. I think there's more there. I think there's so much more we can do, and this team has the talent to do it, that I'm excited. I'm glad to be part of it. I'm glad to be, the leader that's helping them through all of this. I know eventually Nationwide will pluck me and put me somewhere else, and so then I'll get to start that process over again.
Exactly. On the debrief, I'm not sure I talked about this, but there's 3 types. The one that we talk about mostly is the event type. Mm-hmm. So there's an event, a sales call,
right?
Something, with the FA or something, and boom, okay, got it. Those are good. I like to schedule those beforehand. So if you have an event, sales meeting, schedule those immediately, right away.
Perfect.
But you also want to do, and the periodic ones. Well, that could be, like you said, a weekly Tuesday check-in. There's different ways. It could be quarterly reports that we all get to do. But I like the real-time debriefs. These are the magical ones. These are ones that, you're with somebody and you notice, like, we'll debrief right after this real quick, right? But it's a real time. What did we learn? How we can do better? I find those are magical. But as we wrap up, I just noticed something, that perspective. I haven't done this with you, but I've taught this a bunch. What is this? What is this?
A pen?
It's a pen. Yeah, it absolutely, it writes. It's a pen. Now, if I gave it to my Ridgebacks or our doggies, what would they do with it?
They'd chew it or throw it around. Yep, put it in their mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a chew toy.
Yep.
So here's the question. Who's right?
Yep. I think it depends on your perspective and what your job is.
Nice. See, that's just it. So you could say they're both right. Right? Depends on your perspective. Okay, got it. Or you could say neither, actually, right? So let's do this then. Let's take this pen. I'll put it down right here in front of the Blue Angel helmet. We go out of the room. We go out of the podcast studio. All the humans leave. And guess what? The dogs leave. What is it then?
Is it still a pen if it's not doing its function? It's just laying there. Maybe it's decor now.
Yeah, that's good. It's potential.
It's potential,
right? It could be, I've heard people say paperweight, decor. It could be really almost anything.
Yep.
So if the humans come back in the room, you and I come back in the room, what do we see?
We're going to grab it and use it as a pen.
Right. If the dogs come back into the room, what do they do?
Grab it with their mouth and play with it.
Yeah, it becomes a chew toy. That's the potential.
Yep.
So when you were talking about the markets, or you're talking about threat or opportunity, here's the question. Is the penness coming like this, or is it coming like this? No, show me with your hand. I'm curious.
So
which way do you think the penness is coming?
I think it's coming this way.
Okay, so you say it's the pendness is coming at you.
Yeah, it's coming at us.
See, I would suggest it's the opposite.
Yeah?
I would say it's coming this way.
Okay.
Why? Because I label it as a pen.
Mm-hmm.
The dogs label it as a chew toy. If it was coming this way, if the pendness was in the cylindrical object, everyone would have to see it as the same. So that's why, the reason I share this, and I had no idea we were going to do this, is that's the markets. Is our perception. Is it a threat or an opportunity?
Yes.
Is the glass half full or half empty? They're both right. It's how we label something.
I love it. Great.
Take that back to your team.
I will.
Now, as we wrap, I always like to say, why are you glad to be here right now? What in this moment, in this second, what is glad to be here mean to you?
Because I learned something from you today. I've learned multiple things again from you today. So every time I'm with you, we talk about such cool things, things that I can take away that are tangible and immediate that can apply to my life, my leadership. I mean, the team I work with. So I'm thankful for that.
Well, I'm thankful for you having the time to take not only the leadership, how you applying this on your leadership. So talk to me about your rock band and tell me how has that impacted your leadership style?
It's funny to think about it. You know, you don't necessarily think you need leadership to be in a rock band. But what it has taught me is that everyone has a role.
Nice.
And everyone's role is different at different times. So you learn patience because the drummer isn't always getting a drum solo. So you learn patience. You learn that you're in the back holding everything together. The guitar player may not like this song because it's not a great part for them, but the audience loves the song, so they still play it. They're patient, waiting for their turn.
Nice.
The lead singer has to entertain the audience while trying to hit her notes, so she has to perform at a very high level. She has a tremendous amount of scrutiny on her, right? So you understand that everybody has a different role.
What about the bass player?
The bass player is always the coolest person of the band. And they just are supposed to look really calm back there.
Keyboards? Let's get into keyboards.
We have another guitar player instead of keyboards, but the other guitar player is like the showy one. There's always one that's refined, and there's always one that's showy. Everybody has a role, and it's the cohesion of that creates the team and creates the true product that comes out. And I think it's when you understand that everybody has a role, everybody's role can change, and we continue to strive to get better together. I mean, it still turns into leadership.
Okay, that's it. That's the new theme now. We did the Blue Angels. Now we're moving to rock bands.
Band. There you go.
But they're similar.
They
right?
are. Yeah.
On how you apply.
Absolutely. We do a debrief after our shows.
You do?
Right after. We'll go out to dinner after a show and we'll say, okay, what happened? What were the struggles? You know, our sound system went out, a microphone went out, or somebody bumped into our equipment. You know, we do a full debrief after the shows as well.
Oh, man, this has been great.
It
Ronna,
has.
Thanks for the time. It's great to reconnect and keep it alive.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much for the time.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.